What's up, guys? Mitch from Silver State Off-Road. We're getting this video series started, just getting the channel started overall. So I wanted to go through and introduce you to not only myself, but some of the rigs you'll be seeing on the channel. This is my personal Bronco, obviously with the graphics and everything for the shop and some of the main company's components that I'm running on it. And we'll go through, gives you a good rundown of the parts that are on it, what we've done to it, changes we've made or plan on making. If you've watched a few of the first videos, you've probably seen more of my 1-ton Ranger. This is the one that I wheel more often. The Ranger is fun for party weekends and, you know, Ford ice bashing, moon rocks, things like that, King of the Hammers. But 80% of the time that I'm wheeling, I'm in the Bronco. Super nice, comfy to wheel to and from the trail, drive home, usually, not have many issues. So let's go through some of what I've got done to the vehicle and show you guys what we got. All right, so we'll start with the most important kind of features that make the Bronco and just go through everything. I would say by far and away, the #1 feature, come down here and take a look, is the 74 well Gen 2 portals. A little messy right now. We were just doing some maintenance, actually prepping for heading up to the Rubicon today. So, but these 74 well Gen 2 portals are highly updated from the first ones, much beefier around the steering knuckle and the lower ball joint. I did break 2 of the first gen portals, one at King of the Hammers, one at Rubicon. Quinn was awesome. The 74 well dudes were awesome about helping and, you know, getting me in a set of Gen 2s quickly. Been through multiple different tie rods, Carly, the Apex ones, and I found that the stock Ford Performance ones, while not being as beefy and strong, the OEM quality is just hard to beat if you drive it on the street. They don't get clunky and rattly and play in them. They just work. And if you wheel, you know, relatively cautious, you can get away without bending them. And if you do, it's a 15-minute fix on the trail, no big deal. So I know if you probably saw, I got limit straps. Not many Broncos have those. They're not something that you can buy. I just fabbed up some brackets off the lower shocks and on the upper frame, just because the extra unsprung weight of the portals, even though they're aluminum and they're only about 45 pounds a corner, it really helps just to not, you know, put extra strain on the suspension, limits the CV axles, the tie rod ends, everything, to make sure everything's playing nice and stays safe. The next thing that I would say is one of my favorite things I've done on the Bronco is absolutely the RCV axle shafts, man. I bought those first month we had this thing before I had portals. They've been on it since I owned it. I've never broken one, never had an issue. The Dobinsons MRR suspension, if you want to come check out some of the, you know, a little bit of the flex, it's obviously on a poser ramp out in back of our shop. It's not maxed out by any means, but man, it's got a lot of travel. It's the 3-way adjustable reservoirs. So on here you actually have the purple knob is the high speed compression. This is the low speed compression, super easy to, you know, it's not hard, you don't need a tool. My favorite user-friendly shocks, and then what most of the DSC shocks don't have on the shaft down there in the bottom, which is kind of hard to get to because I have the skids, but there is a rebound adjustment too, so you can really dial the shocks in. Love the Dobinsons MRR. We refer it to a lot of customers on 4Runners, Tacomas, even Tundras, Jeeps, Broncos. It's just hard to beat, man. It's really one of the better setups right out of the box. And when I first built the Bronco, it was 21, middle of COVID. Parts were super hard to get even for a shop owner. So some of the parts were just strictly because that's what was available at the time. And that's the case with the Icon Delta joint upper control arms and the rear track bar. I know a lot of people have had issues with the bushings on these. Mine are at about 30,000 miles and they are pretty worn, so I'm going to be replacing those and double shearing them. But I do love the Delta joint. Lots of travel, super easy to replace. There's actually a tool, you can just pop this off. I carry a spare, you know, ball joint, uniball, whatever you want to call it, stud for this. So it would be a 10-minute fix on the trail if I had to change it. Never have, I haven't had an issue, so that's great. Really no complaints. I've seen other people with complaints, but all I can talk about is my experience. They've been beat to hell and they hold up. The rear track bar is an adjustable Icon also, really the only one that was available at the time. Had no issues with that. It's still good. Heims aren't clunky, nothing like that. So this Icon rear track bar, there's some rock rash on the bottom of it, but it's still straight. Like I said, the Heims and bushings are not clapped out, not played out. I think it helps now that it's on portals and it's more factory geometry. Does have a relocation bar because it's slightly lifted still with the Dobinsons. It's not stock height, but I've had no issues, no complaints about that Icon. So And then underneath, the links are kind of a mixed match. We got some Metalcloak skids, and the upper links are Metalcloak. The lowers are the Dobinsons. I like the fact they use a factory style bushing on them. Same thing, both of those I've had zero issues, no clunks, rattles, squeaks. They're awesome. The armor, I just bought a universal Barnes 44 truss and kind of made it fit on the Bronco just for a little bit of extra support with the trail assist turn and the portals. And then the diff skid and full belly skids are both from Barnes 4-wheel drive. Super well fit, went together nicely, no complaints about those. And on the rear, we got the Sumo springs too, just for trips like this. If we show you the inside, we're super loaded down with gear for the Rubicon, and they help not have harsh bottom mounts. And this was a factory soft top, so I went with the Turn Off-Road hard top. Again, they were one of the first to the market, but we've sold a few of them. My wife has one on her daily driver. Honestly, super great company, good quality, fast, free shipping. Who's shipping hard tops for free? Makes a night and day difference, not only in the sound, but the looks of the Bronco. Everyone I've talked to and has dealt with the Turn stuff loves it. We also have their tire delete kit, just to get some of the weight of the spare tire off the tailgate. We carry glue tread if we ever get a flat and needed to do it. That's usually sufficient. When I put the portals on, I did want to get some fenders back on. I had fender deletes, but with the extra poke from the portals, the Turn Off-Road fenders were just the go-to. Sliders are, again, they were the first ones available. I don't even know what brand they were, but they were from JCR Off-Road. They were the only ones I could find at the time that would weld to the frame, and I really liked the idea of that. I will be cutting them off and doing the Turn sliders. They hug a lot closer to the body and just give me some extra clearance and a few pinch lines, especially at Sand Hollow, that I found that it would really benefit from being narrower on the sliders. Rear bumper is Addicted Desert design. It's not super beefy, honestly. These points, if you use them to tug, it actually will just bend the bumper down. I have stitch welded it on and stuff, but I try not to use it for anchor points. It is high clearance and I like the way it looks. Definitely not one of the strongest ones on the market. I had the front that matched, and they actually, it like totally got ripped to pieces just from wheeling it. So I switched it out, and we'll show you the front one in a minute here. So when I got the Bronco originally, I liked the idea of not beating up a brand new $60,000, $70,000 at the time, because that was when they were still hard to get. And it is the Badlands Sasquatch, pretty top trim. So I actually bought it from Copart for less than half the price it would have been new. So it really hurt less to bash on it and take it out wheeling. This damage is from a snow wheeling incident when I ran into the back of a Jeep because we were on ice and I just couldn't stop. Thankfully, he was a friend. It didn't do much damage to his. This windshield damage is all from, it was like a flop, I guess, the people I got it from at Copart. You see the mirror folded in and hit the A-pillar. The airbags went off, but it was really a bunch of minor damage to fix. And then, like I said, for half the price of building a new one and beating on it, made me feel better about it. So when I originally bought the Bronco, I kind of, I have my Ranger that's really built for partying, beating, like I said, 1 tons 40s, linked front and rear, coilovers, the whole deal. So I wanted to get something that was street friendly, drivable, and I had a rig that was, but it was a little too big, and I really don't have that much self-control when I'm out wheeling, so I would put that big thing in places it shouldn't be. It was just, it was a lot of upkeep and everything. So it was a 2007 Ford Explorer Sport Track 4-door pickup, 40s, 1 tons. We actually did a video on it, and it's in the posts on our homepage of our YouTube. So if you want to check that out, everyone loved that rig. I miss it. I've been through dozens of rigs, and that's the one that I miss the most. I wish I never would have sold it. Atlas. It was super cool, but very unique. And but the Bronco just fits our lifestyle more these days. I do regret selling the Sport Track, but I'm very happy with this and where we're at. And on the Bronco, the most important part, if you have one or if you've wheeled with one, is the electric steering. It's kind of chintzy. I wish somebody would come up with a hydraulic assist or something for it, but 74 weld makes a rack, Ford Performance makes a 3.0 Haas rack, and Broncbuster uses that 3.0 performance rack, billet end cap, bushings, helps beef it up, but you still lack the assist that you'd get with, say, 40s and hydro assist or something to that effect, Jeeps with PSC boxes. So I do have the 74 weld billet steering rack in here with the Haas 3.0 motor. It does really well, especially now that I went to the Nitto 11.5 tires. So these are 38 11.5 wide on a stock Bronco wheel for the back spacing. And man, let me tell you, the difference between a 38 1150 and a 38 1350 mud grappler, which I had before, is night and day. I can steer so much better now. I can actually air down below 12, 10 PSI, whereas with the trail grappler, the steering was so hard, I could really only air down to about 18, so I was suffering traction loss. I've ran Rubicon in the snow, which we're doing again this afternoon. We'll let you know how that goes. But in the end of November, we ran Rubicon all the way through, start to finish in the snow, zero traction issues. We did Fordyce in December, obviously wet, sloppy, no traction issues. Made it through the entire trail in one day with just 3 rigs. So I've been super stoked on the Nitto ridge grapplers, not the trail grapplers. I loved those too, but they're just too heavy for the Bronco with electric steering. So with that, the steering rack helps turn them. I'm happy as you can be with electric steering and portals on a Bronco. The portals also help the geometry to help keep your tie rods flatter than a suspension lift where you're getting your tie rods maxed out, and that's putting extra strain on them. If you keep it flatter, same with the CV shafts, the portals really do help everything kind of stay happy and play nice together. And up front, we have the Metalcloak bumper. Super cool because it's modular, so it comes and goes on in pieces. You can take the outer wings off and the skid plate and everything off without removing the winch. We got the brand new Smitty built 9500 winch in there, fits nicely, doesn't get in the way of the trail camera, anything like that. The Baja cubes, front and rear, Baja design lights, can't go wrong there. The one complaint I had about the Metalcloak bumper, and I talked with the guys from Metalcloak at Sierra Trek, if you notice where they put your bumper sensors, originally I was scraping them out about every other trip and just totally deleting the sensors. So I kind of have them just shoved in here right now. They work. I shared pictures with the Metalcloak guys. We're a dealer for them. We sell a lot of their stuff. I don't know if it's been revised or not yet. For most people, it might not be an issue, but if you're wheeling your Bronco hard, you're gonna hit those sensors and just break them out all the time, and that gets annoying. And one thing different about this Bronco that I haven't seen done on really any other than people that are racing 4400, 4600, sorry, on the Broncos, is we built a roll cage for it. Because I did compete at the We Rock event here at Moon Rocks, Nevada. Didn't go so great for me. I broke a front ring and pinion reversing up a line. I think it was a faulty gear setup, but with the portals, I should, in theory, ring gears should be stronger than a Dana 60, and I wasn't really doing too much. So haven't had any issues since, but let me show you what we did to meet spec or tech for the comp. So I had my buddy Jesse Bennett, JB Metal Fab. He races the 4695 Hammers Jeep. He's been killing it. Put portals on it this year, so he's coming to try to beat the 4600 Broncos. So he helped us design these. There is through bolts that go under to the frame. It's really a very simple cage that just up and above, and then in the back, it ties along the roof all the way back. It's stitched to the actual body, a straight pillar across, and then these are removable tube clamps to where when I want it, when I don't have my family with me, if I'm doing the competition or anything, I have a whole H brace that goes behind the back seats and doubles as a harness bar and ties through to the frame as well down here. So got a legit roll cage in there. The rest of the interior is all stock. I mean, the Bronco's super nice interior, MOLLE panel for the radio, but the big screen for when you're crawling, all the buttons on the dash for the lockers and sway bar disconnects. I have zero complaints about the trim and, you know, the outlining of how they did the interior on this thing. I really do like it. While going through the rig, telling you everything that we have, even though we do own an off-road shop, I want you to know that we're dealers for dozens, if not hundreds of brands. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I paid for all of this stuff with my own money. I've switched setups 100 times. I've figured out what works for me, and I'm just showing you guys what I have, what I like. You can tell me what you did different on your rig and what you like, but this setup is working good for me. And the last thing we're going to talk about is what we didn't modify on the Bronco, things we haven't changed, things we haven't touched, and reasons why we do so. Engine, transmission, transfer case, totally stock. No tuner, no intake, nothing at all. We see people coming in for engine swaps because they run K&N filter, not the brand specifically, but those style filters that are meant for street performance to breathe more air. They just allow extra dirt into the intake, and this happens in side-by-sides, quads, everything. So I'm a big fan of the paper filter, the factory box. Doesn't really let dust in. Keep up on your maintenance, it stays good. They have plenty of power, the 10-speed transmission. I don't need a tuner, I don't need to modify it. I'm a big fan of leaving stuff stock, especially with the gear. When we have the portals, you have all the pep you need to get up and go. Anything you lose from going to the bigger tires and stuff, you gain it right back. It's essentially like a re-gear that we do for Toyotas and Jeeps. So the whole drivetrain is stock other than the rear drive shaft. I have a 1350 flange to flange custom made drive shaft just because I'm not a fan of the CV style joints on the stock drive shaft, and mine was getting pretty beat up and rock rash since I was wheeled a lot before I had portals. Now it's up out of the way. Also, The factory lockers are totally stock. The E-lockers in the M220 and the M210 Broncos are amazing. Because it's the Badlands trim, I have a factory hydraulic sway bar disconnect, so even if it's bound up, I can just touch a button and it settles down, undoes the sway bar, automatically comes back on over 20 for high speed. So that's a really cool feature. Honestly, they came pretty ready to wheel straight from the dealer if you got the factory Sasquatch package. The Badlands is awesome. It just took it up another notch with some of the trims, and I haven't had any of the issues with the stuff that I have left stock. So it all comes down to, as much as you modify stuff, and it's the same with Jeeps, Toyotas, anything, people are gonna hate on certain things you do. People hate the IFS, they love to hate that. So tell us what you hate about it, because I know those comments are coming. But we do solid axle Jeeps. I have a solid axle 1-ton rig. This serves a totally different purpose, and for what it's worth, I love my Bronco.